The night sky above Nova Prime Colony was calm. Stars glimmered like diamonds scattered across black velvet. The colony's people were celebrating Unity Day, a holiday that marked 100 years of peace between Earth and its outer colonies. Children laughed, fireworks lit the sky, and soft music played across the city. From orbit, the planet looked peaceful. But in the darkness beyond its atmosphere, something waited. In deep space, shadows moved. Strange ships with black, jagged hulls crept silently toward the planet. They had no running lights, no signals, nothing to announce their presence. They came like predators, ready to strike. Inside the colony, Commander Adrian Cole sat in a small defense station several thousand kilometers away. He was monitoring traffic logs and energy readings. It was supposed to be a boring night. Nova Prime was a safe colony, far from any known threat. Adrian stretched in his chair and took a sip of cold coffee. "Another quiet shift," he muttered. But then, an alarm blared. The station's sensors lit up red. Unidentified objects had appeared on the edge of the system, dozens of them. Adrian froze for a split second, then slammed his hand on the comm panel. "This is Commander Cole to Nova Prime Control," he barked. "We've got multiple unknown contacts entering the system. They're fast. Too fast." Static crackled on the line. "Commander, can you confirm?" No ships were scheduled tonight. Adrian's heart pounded. "They're not ours," he said sharply. "Sound the alert. Now." Across the colony, sirens wailed. Families looked to the sky in confusion. People grabbed their children and ran for shelter, not understanding what was happening. Then the sky tore open. Massive alien warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel directly above the city. They were shaped like claws and blades, built for terror as much as destruction. Their hulls shimmered with dark energy. The first blast struck without warning. A beam of white fire ripped through the colony's tallest tower, vaporizing it in an instant. Screams filled the air. Chaos erupted. The aliens did not communicate, did not explain. They simply attacked, raining fire on homes, factories, and defense platforms. Human ships scrambled to respond, but were annihilated within minutes. The defenders never stood a chance. Adrian watched the destruction unfold on his monitors, jaw clenched in rage. "Get me a visual link," he shouted to his crew. A shaky camera feed appeared, showing the colony's capital in flames. Thousands of people were running in the streets. Alien soldiers, tall, thin, and armored in black, marched through the ruins, shooting anyone who resisted. They moved like a well-trained army, cold and precise. "God help us," whispered one of Adrian's crew. Adrian forced himself to stay calm. "No," he said. "We're not done yet. Prepare counterattack drones. Buy them time to evacuate." His team worked frantically, launching every defense drone the station had. Small explosions dotted the sky as the drones engaged the enemy, but the aliens were too powerful. One by one, the drones were destroyed. Then, the alien ships stopped firing. The sudden silence was almost worse than the battle. Smoke drifted over the city. Survivors peeked out of ruined buildings, confused and terrified. A signal appeared on every screen, every communicator, every device. A single alien figure appeared. Its face was pale and angular, its eyes black pits filled with hate. It spoke in a harsh, distorted voice, but somehow, the message translated perfectly into human language. "People of Earth and its colonies, kneel. Submit to the will of the Veiled Dominion, or be erased from existence. You have 7 cycles to surrender. Refuse, and all your worlds will burn." The message ended. The screen went black. For several heartbeats, no one moved. Then the alien ships vanished into faster-than-light travel, leaving only ruin behind. They didn't stay to occupy the planet. They didn't take prisoners. They had come only to send a message. Adrian slammed his fist against the console. "They're terrorists," he growled. This wasn't war. It was a warning. His crew looked to him for guidance. Fear was in their eyes. "What do we do, sir?" one asked quietly. Adrian stared at the burning colony on the screen. He thought of the families who had died tonight. He thought of the billions still living across Earth and its colonies, innocent lives now under threat. For a moment, he felt the crushing weight of despair. Then he straightened, his voice hard and steady. "We fight," he said. "We send our own message." Hours later, rescue teams searched the ruins. The death toll was unimaginable. Entire districts had been wiped out. In a makeshift medical tent, a little girl clutched her mother's hand, whispering through tears, "Why did they hurt us?" No one had an answer. High above the planet, Adrian stood on the defense station's observation deck, watching the sunrise. He knew the coming days would decide humanity's fate. He also knew many would be too afraid to resist. But he made a silent vow. Humanity would never kneel. As the sun rose, his communicator beeped. A priority message from Earth flashed on the screen. Emergency meeting. All commanders required. Immediate response to Dominion threat. Adrian turned to his crew. "Prepare the ship," he ordered. "We leave in 5 minutes." His second-in-command hesitated. "Sir, what will you tell them?" Adrian's jaw tightened. "The truth," he said. "That this was just the first strike, and it won't be the last." The camera would pull back here, showing the ruined planet and the cold, empty stars. The audience is left with one chilling thought. The real war hasn't even started yet. The emergency council chamber on Earth Prime was silent. Only the soft hum of holoscreens filled the massive circular room. The leaders of humanity sat in heavy chairs, their faces pale and tense. Images of Nova Prime's destruction floated in the center of the room, burning cities, dead colonies, terrified refugees. At the edge of the chamber stood Commander Adrian Cole. His uniform was torn from battle, his eyes red from exhaustion. He had come straight from the ruins of Nova Prime with one purpose: to make them understand. The Earth Council chairwoman, a stern woman named Marissa Kane, finally spoke. Her voice trembled slightly. "Nova Prime was one of our strongest colonies. Its defenses were formidable. And yet, they fell in less than 1 hour." She turned her sharp gaze to Adrian. "Commander, you saw them. Who are these attackers? What do they want?" Adrian took a deep breath. He remembered the screaming civilians, the black-armored soldiers, and that cold, distorted message. "They call themselves the Veiled Dominion," Adrian said firmly. "They are not an empire. Not a normal enemy. They don't conquer worlds to rule them. They destroy to control through fear." He stepped forward, his voice rising with anger. "They didn't want Nova Prime's resources or territory. They wanted to terrorize us, to make humanity kneel before them." A murmur swept through the council members. Some looked angry. Others, afraid. One counselor, a nervous-looking man, spoke up. "If they are that powerful, perhaps surrender is logical. Billions could die if we fight." The room fell silent. Adrian's hands clenched into fists. He took a step toward the man, his tone like ice. "If we kneel now, we will live as slaves. They will take our worlds, our families, our very future. No. We fight, or we lose everything." The council erupted into debate. Some shouted for war. Others begged for peace. Adrian stood silently, watching them argue, until Chairwoman Kane raised her hand for quiet. "Enough," she said firmly. "We need information. If these terrorists are to be stopped, we must know where they are and how to strike back." Adrian nodded. "I agree. And I have a plan." The holoscreen changed, showing a map of the local star systems. "This region," Adrian pointed, "is where they arrived from. If we send a stealth team, we can trace their jump signatures, find their hidden base, and hit them before day 7. The chairwoman studied him for a long moment. "It's dangerous. If your team fails, the Dominion will know we're preparing to fight." Adrian's expression hardened. They already know. They're watching us. The only question is whether we act now, or wait to be slaughtered. After a tense pause, Kane gave a single nod. Very well. Commander Cole, you will lead this mission. Find them. Bring back proof. Humanity will need hope to stand against this threat. Hours later, aboard a small stealth ship named Shadow Spear, Adrian's team prepared for departure. Each member had been handpicked, skilled pilots, engineers, and soldiers willing to risk everything. One of them, a young pilot named Rhine, checked her controls nervously. "Sir," she said quietly, "are we really going into Dominion space? I heard. No one comes back from there." Adrian placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We'll come back," he said. "Because failure isn't an option." The ship launched, vanishing into the cold darkness of space. For 2 days, the team traveled silently through uncharted regions. The deeper they went, the more signs they found of the Dominion's cruelty: destroyed outposts, derelict ships, silent planets where entire populations had vanished. In the ruins of a mining station, they found something unexpected: survivors. Half-starved and terrified, a group of alien prisoners were locked in a storage bay. Their leader, a 4-armed alien named Kether, begged for help. "The Veil. They feed on fear," Kether rasped. "They crush hope. When we resisted, they burned our cities. Many of my people surrendered. They are slaves now." Adrian helped Kether to his feet. "Then help us fight back. Tell us how to defeat them." Kether hesitated, then nodded. "They are strong, yes. But not invincible. Their ships, they need special energy crystals to power their weapons. Without them, they are weaker." Adrian's eyes narrowed. This was the first real advantage humanity had. The Shadow Spear continued deeper into enemy territory. Eventually, their sensors detected a massive energy surge, exactly what they had been searching for. Adrian leaned over the display. "That's it," he whispered. "The Dominion's command center." The image showed a cluster of warships surrounding a dark, jagged station orbiting a dying red star. It looked like a nest of vipers, ready to strike. "Record everything," Adrian ordered. "We take this back to the Council. With this intel, we can plan a counterattack." The crew moved quickly, gathering scans and data. For the first time, a spark of hope flickered among them. But then, the alarms blared. "Enemy ships inbound!" Rhine shouted. Adrian's stomach dropped. How did they find us so fast? Before anyone could answer, the Shadow Spear shook violently as enemy fire slammed into its hull. The lights flickered. Smoke filled the cabin. "Sir, they're surrounding us!" another crew member cried. Adrian's eyes widened in sudden realization. "They knew we were coming," he said bitterly. "There's a traitor on board." Outside the viewport, Dominion warships closed in like wolves. The crew scrambled to battle stations as chaos erupted. "Evasive maneuvers!" Adrian roared. "Everyone, hold on!" The Shadow Spear dove through enemy fire, engines screaming. But there were too many ships, too fast, too precise. As the enemy leader's voice came over the comm, cold and mocking, Adrian knew this was no random ambush. "You think you can hunt us, humans? It is we who hunt you." Adrian gritted his teeth. "Not today," he growled. The scene ends with the Shadow Spear diving into a deadly asteroid field, enemy ships in pursuit, as the screen fades to black. The Shadow Spear spun wildly through the asteroid field, enemy fire streaking past its hull. Alarms screamed. Sparks burst from broken panels. Smoke filled the narrow corridors as crew members scrambled to keep the ship alive. "Shields at 15%. Rhine shouted from the pilot's seat, sweat pouring down her face. "They've locked on again." Adrian Cole braced himself against the wall. His jaw tightened. "They can't hit what they can't see," he growled. "Dive deeper into the field. Use the asteroids for cover." Rhine's hands flew over the controls. The small stealth ship weaved between massive chunks of rock, enemy blasts shattering asteroids behind them. Each explosion sent debris spinning like deadly shrapnel. "They're still following us," a crew member yelled, panic in his voice. Adrian's eyes narrowed. "Then we take the fight to them." He turned to the weapons officer. "Load plasma torpedoes. Target their engines." The officer hesitated. "Sir, that'll expose us." Adrian's tone was cold and sharp. "We're dead if we keep running. Fire on my mark." As another enemy ship swept past, Adrian barked, "Mark!" Two bright torpedoes streaked out, slamming into the enemy vessel's engines. The alien ship erupted in a blinding explosion, fragments scattering through the field. A cheer went up from the crew, but it died quickly as sensors showed 4 more ships closing in. Adrian cursed under his breath. "They're not just chasing us, they're hurting us." The realization hit him like a punch to the gut. The Dominion wasn't trying to destroy them yet. They were forcing them into a trap. Minutes later, the Shadow Spear burst out of the asteroid field and straight into a massive Dominion fleet. Dozens of black warships hung in space, blocking every escape route. Their hulls glowed with sickly red energy. At the center was the largest ship Adrian had ever seen, the flagship. A deep, cold voice came over the comm. It was the same alien leader who had broadcast the first threat to humanity. "Commander Adrian Cole, you are bold and foolish. Did you really think you could hunt the Veiled Dominion? You are nothing. Your species is nothing." The crew froze, their faces pale with fear. Adrian stood tall, glaring at the screen. "Funny," he said through gritted teeth. "I was about to say the same thing to you." The alien leader let out a sound that might have been laughter, or a growl. "Your resistance ends here. Watch as your hope dies." The Dominion fleet opened fire all at once. The Shadow Spear jerked violently as blast after blast slammed into its shields. Shields down to 5%. Rhine screamed. Adrian barked orders over the chaos. "Divert all power to engines. Get us close to their flagship." The weapons officer stared at him, shocked. "Sir, are you insane? That's suicide." Adrian's voice was like steel. "If we can take out their command ship, the others might scatter. It's our only chance." The small human ship darted and twisted, dodging enemy fire as it streaked toward the towering flagship. Inside the Shadow Spear, the crew worked frantically. Kether, the alien they had rescued earlier, slammed his 4 hands against a console. "Their weapon cores are on the underside," he shouted. "If you strike there, their shields will collapse." Adrian gave a sharp nod. "You heard him. Target their underbelly." As they neared the flagship, enemy fighters swarmed around them like hornets. The Shadow Spear shuddered as blasts tore through its hull. Fires erupted in several compartments. Then, without warning, the ship lurched violently. "Port thrusters are gone," Rhine cried. "We're losing control." Adrian grabbed the co-pilot's controls, helping her steer. "Hold it steady. Just a little closer." The moment their targeting system locked on, Adrian roared, "Fire!" A massive plasma torpedo shot forward, striking the flagship's underside. The explosion lit up space like a second sun. The flagship's shields flickered and died. Cheers erupted on the Shadow Spear, but Adrian didn't celebrate. "Again!" he shouted. "Finish it!" Before they could fire a second shot, a new voice cut through the calm, a whispering, venomous tone. "You fight well, for prey." The alien leader appeared on their screen, his pale face cold and emotionless. Then he did something none of them expected. He activated a superweapon. On the Shadow Spear's display, a massive structure unfolded from the flagship. It began charging with dark red energy, aimed directly at Earth. "Targeting Earth," the weapons officer shouted in horror. "If that thing fires, billions will die." Adrian's blood ran cold. "Not while I'm breathing," he said. The shadow spear docked forcibly with the damaged flagship. Adrian led a small strike team into the alien vessel, blasters ready. The corridors were dark and filled with smoke. Alien soldiers attacked from every direction. The fight was brutal and chaotic, but Adrian's team pushed forward inch by inch. In the control chamber, the alien leader awaited them. He was tall and thin, his black armor gleaming like obsidian. "So this is humanity's champion," he sneered. "Do you truly believe you can stop destiny?" Adrian leveled his blaster. "No," he said. "But I can stop you." The two clashed in a fierce hand-to-hand battle. The alien moved with terrifying speed, but Adrian fought with pure determination. Every punch, every block, every strike was fueled by the memory of Nova Prime and the innocents slaughtered there. Meanwhile, on the shadow spear, the crew raced to shut down the superweapon. Rhine's hands flew over the controls, sweat dripping into her eyes. "We're running out of time," she shouted. "If Adrian doesn't stop him, this weapon is going to fire." Inside the control chamber, Adrian finally gained the upper hand. He slammed the alien leader against a console, shouting through gritted teeth. "You want us to kneel? Here's my answer." With one final strike, Adrian hurled the alien into a power conduit. Sparks exploded, and the leader collapsed, motionless. The countdown to the weapon's firing reached its final seconds. Adrian grabbed the controls, desperately trying to shut it down. But as he did, a chilling message appeared on the screen. "System locked. Cannot abort." His eyes widened. The superweapon was still armed, and there was only one way to stop it. He turned to his team. "We have to destroy this entire ship." The scene ends with Adrian slamming a detonator onto the main console as alarms blare, and the crew races to escape before the flagship explodes. The shadow spear tore away from the Dominion flagship, its engines screaming as it sped through space. Behind it, the massive alien vessel glowed with unstable energy. Inside, the self-destruct charges Adrian had armed were counting down. Rhine gripped the flight controls so tightly her knuckles turned white. 30 seconds until detonation," she shouted. "Hold on to something." The crew braced themselves as the small ship raced through enemy fire. Dominion fighters swarmed like angry insects, desperate to stop their escape. Adrian stood behind Rhine, shouting orders over the chaos. "Evasive maneuvers. Don't let them box us in." Kether, the rescued alien ally, fired the rear turrets with his 4 powerful arms. "More incoming," he roared. 2 on our left. 3 on our right." Explosions lit up the darkness as Kether blasted enemy ships apart. But for every fighter destroyed, 2 more appeared. 10 seconds. Rhine screamed. Adrian's gaze flicked to the tactical display. They were still too close. When the flagship blew, the shockwave could tear them apart. "Punch it, Rhine," he barked. "Maximum thrust." Rhine slammed her hand on the throttle. The shadow spear surged forward, its hull groaning under the strain. Behind them, the Dominion flagship erupted in a blinding explosion. The shockwave chased them like a wall of fire. "Brace!" Adrian yelled. The shadow spear was hurled forward, spinning wildly. Panels ripped free. Warning lights flared red. But somehow, by sheer luck and Rhine's skill, the ship survived. Silence fell inside the cabin as everyone caught their breath. We made it," Rhine whispered in disbelief. Adrian didn't relax. "No," he said grimly. "Not yet." He pointed to the holoscreen. The superweapon's main structure still glowed faintly, its systems partially intact. Though the flagship was gone, the weapon had not been completely destroyed. A horrifying realization struck the crew. "It's still charging," the weapons officer gasped. "If it fires, Earth is finished." Adrian slammed his fist against the console. "Then we finish this ourselves." The shadow spear turned sharply and headed back toward the dying weapon. It was now heavily damaged, surrounded by debris and drifting Dominion wreckage. But even crippled, it radiated a terrible, ominous power. Kether's dark eyes widened as he read the scans. The core is unstable. If you strike it hard enough, it will overload and destroy itself. Ryan frowned. Hard enough. With what? We don't have heavy ordnance left. Adrian's expression hardened. We have one thing left. The crew stared at him in shock as realization dawned. No, Ryan whispered. You can't mean. Adrian nodded. We rammed the shadow spear into the core. The room went silent. That's suicide, Kether said bluntly. Whoever stays aboard won't survive. Adrian met his gaze without flinching. I know. The crew erupted in protest, shouting all at once. But Adrian raised a hand, silencing them. Listen to me, he said firmly. If that weapon fires, every colony, every city, every child on Earth dies. We don't have time to argue. He scanned their faces, Ryan's tear-streaked determination, Kether's fierce loyalty, the fear in the younger crew members' eyes. You've all done your part, Adrian said quietly. Now it's my turn. As the others prepared the escape pods, Ryan stayed by Adrian's side. You don't have to do this alone, she whispered. Adrian gave her a faint smile. Yes, I do. You're the best pilot we have. You get them home. Her voice broke. And you. He looked out the viewport at the glowing weapon. I'll make sure the galaxy knows what happens when you threaten humanity. The shadow spear accelerated toward the superweapon. Escape pods launched one by one, drifting away toward safety. In the last pod, Kether saluted Adrian with all four arms. You fight like one of my people, he said. I will tell others of your courage. Adrian nodded. Make sure they remember, humanity does not kneel. Then the pod detached, leaving Adrian alone aboard the shadow spear. Inside the cockpit, alarms blared as the weapon's countdown reached its final minute. Adrian's hands gripped the controls tightly. The core loomed ahead, glowing brighter with each passing second. The alien leader's voice suddenly crackled over the comm, faint but mocking. You think this will save you, human? Even if you destroy this weapon, others will come. You will kneel. Eventually, you all kneel. Adrian's jaw tightened. He whispered one final defiant message. No, we rise. Then he slammed the throttle forward. The shadow spear slammed into the core. For a heartbeat, there was silence. Then an explosion unlike anything before lit up the entire star system. The weapon shattered. The Dominion fleet was vaporized. The shockwave rippled through space, a blinding light seen from orbiting colonies and far-off ships. Hours later, Earth Council Command received a transmission from Kether's escape pod. The message was brief, but it carried a weight that would echo across the galaxy. The weapon is destroyed. Commander Adrian Cole is gone, but his sacrifice saved us all. On Earth and every colony, grief turned to pride. Humanity had faced terror and refused to bow. In the days that followed, news of the Dominion's defeat spread through the stars. Species who had lived in fear of the Veil began to rise up, inspired by Adrian's final stand. The galaxy was no longer silent. Chairwoman Kane stood before a massive crowd on Earth, delivering a broadcast to every world. Let this be known to all who would bring fear and tyranny, she declared. Humanity does not kneel. We fight. We endure. And when darkness comes, we light the stars. Far from Earth, in a quiet sector of space, the camera drifts past wreckage and burning debris. Among the silence, a single human ship glides forward. Its hull bears a bold new emblem, a clenched fist surrounded by stars. Humanity's fleets are no longer scattered colonies. They are united, stronger than ever. The closing shot fades to black as Adrian's voice echoes faintly. To the stars, we are the warning, the end.